stream.
Yeah, fuck, my hair is flat with this hair that I have left.
Still fixing your hair. Okay, let's see. Oh, we're live.
We live.
Oh, we caught you fixing your hair there too.
Mm-hmm. Great way to start a stream.
Perfect.
I don't look good.
Okay. Welcome to the Friday late stream. This is wow.
This is not the late show.
18 minutes late. Today's been an absolute mess.
Yeah.
I spent while I did the morning show. I have like an hour and a half off in between the morning show and having to op noon news. So I've got to go back on and I've got to make sure that my host can do his news, so I do all the board for him. And then I went on today and I was on a podcast of one of the listeners for Dark Corner Studios, and just talking about the YouTube channel and all that. So, and then we had to go to the hospital, get blood drawn for just a study we're a part of. And wow, what a mess of a day. So apologize for being late. We got one viewer. Hey.
Woo! And it's not me.
Oh wow. Hey, it's not even you. Look at that.
Nope, not this time.
Yeah, so it's just been a mess of a day, but that's okay. Life is good. I'm not used to having busy Fridays. Like I've got video. I've got 2 videos shot. The one for Monday is shot and just the first quick edit done. So I still have to get like editing done and all that stuff for Monday's video, which I'm usually done by Friday. Usually. So I gotta pick it up, I guess, over the next little while.
See, Fridays are my worst days. Usually, Fridays are
yeah?
in radio creative. Fridays are usually hell. Every once in a while, you'll get it. Like today wasn't bad, but there was a lot of there was some imaging I was doing that took longer. Some imaging that I was doing for one of our jack stations for some promos, and it was one of those ones where I just kept getting slammed with ideas in my head. So I was like, oh, this is not going to be a music bed and voice.
Yeah.
It's going to be soundscaping like crazy. So that took like an extra 2 hours. And then I had a jingle request from Calgary last minute. So that took an extra hour out of my afternoon. So yeah, it's been a little weird here too.
So when you're doing that, I always figured Thursdays was going to be the big day, because Thursdays usually when a lot of the copy comes in. You know what you're doing for the weekend. I know that that's a big day for doing music.
Yeah, in our case, our logs, like our Saturday, Sunday, Monday logs, they get merged like at 12:30 on Friday. So pretty much Friday morning is when all the reps are like like Friday morning.
Because we have and I've always set it up this way. The station I work at, I've done music a little bit. I was in charge of it at one time, but we would make sure the music for Friday or for Saturday, Sunday was always done by Thursday. And then Monday was done.
Music is a different story. I'm talking traffic logs.
Oh yeah, so but traffic too, because you can't do music without traffic.
Well, but they merge separate. So they'll like music will have their logs ready, and then traffic will push them to the nexus, and then after that happens, then the music directors will just go in and hit merge. So the music does get done, but the logs are usually already completed. It's just a matter of hitting that.
I mean
merge button.
traffic too. Like everything's done for Friday. All of our music and traffic is done for Saturday, Sunday.
I think the only time we usually do that is long weekends. That's usually when they'll send out a note on Tuesday and they'll say, hey, so deadlines for orders this week are Thursday. But usually it's like Friday at noon. At least last time I checked.
Camille Backstein says, hello from the Netherlands. Cool.
Hello. A ways away.
What time is it there, Camille, in the Netherlands?
Morning, I don't know.
We won't wait for your answer, but I'll be watching for it because, wow, good for you. You're up late, I think. I think it's...
Or early.
No, I think it's 6 hours. So probably about 11:21. I'm going to take a guess, 11:21.
Netherlands time.
Oh, you're just...
11:20, it's almost midnight.
You're not even going to trust Camille. 23:41, yes!
23:41. Love how it's military time, too. 24-hour clock. Dig it.
You know what? I think more people... 23:22. Yeah, that's what I said, 11:22. I said, good. I nailed it. Thank you very much. Camille, welcome. I haven't seen you on any of the videos or anything. So is this your first time? We're not going to wait for the answer. Takes a while to get here. There is a delay to some of this. So.
Slight, especially when it's coming from the other side of the planet.
So,
well, actually, no.
Do you have any particular subjects you plan on hitting up?
Me personally, well, I was going to talk about again some interesting stuff this week.
Okay.
RX saved me. I'll start there. So today, for those who might be watching that don't know what Izotope Rx is, it's basically it's an audio repair, like a forensic audio repairing tool, and it is very, very helpful. So this was the problem. So I did a client session over FaceTime audio, which is usually most common and easiest to work with situation, and I had, without noticing when I was recording it, instead of recording directly, because I plugged my iPhone into my little, my board dangle dongle here. And instead of recording directly from the output of the phone, I was recording the microphone that was in the room, which was recording the speakers with the phone coming out. So I was recording essentially the speakers in the room through a microphone without realizing it. And then 2 days later, the client's gone. And it's like the day before, like today, and they start Monday, and I'm like, oh, dear
that
God.
is worst case scenario. So just to point that out, this is worst case scenario, and why I tell people to always monitor the source when they're recording.
If you can, I was recording into Adobe, which doesn't allow you that opportunity.
Oh, that's
otherwise
true.
I would have been.
Yeah.
But I did notice while I was recording, I was like, the levels are really faint. What the hell? And then I realized, because when I'm recording, like my VO mic here, the one I'm talking into, it goes into a separate set of ports on the interface from my board, which is where the phone goes into. So in Adobe, I always have to switch between the two. Like if I'm recording a VO or if I'm recording phone or something else, or like a YouTube clip or something, I have to switch. So sometimes if I forget to switch, I'll be like, why can't I hear myself? Or, why is that level coming in so quiet? So anyway, using spectral denoise and a little bit of just raw EQing and some de-reverb, which are all tools built into RX, I was able to fix it and make it passable for the client had no idea that this whole thing transpired.
That's impressive, man, because that
impressive.
audio is not good. Like, it's not great.
No, it was. So I was going through a small diaphragm condenser mic, which is, they're very sensitive. And, so other than sounding very roomy, the quality was, it was FaceTime audio. It's not great to begin with. But no, I was shocked. I said, I'm going to try this just because I'd feel bad if I didn't try something. And then I was like, you know what? I'm going to send this and I'm not going to say anything.
Haven't you tried clean feed audio for that kind of stuff?
Sometimes it works. Again, so this was the person, I was telling you earlier, this was the person that I couldn't get clean feed to work. So I think their corporate, they may have been on a VPN at their end. And I think their corporate network, judging from the clean feed log, it looked like it was getting shot down at their end by whatever their network setup was.
Oh, it's a pain in the butt.
So,
by the way, that is also kind of a segue in. One of the topics I wanted to talk about today was saving or finding the problem when you can't hear the audio. And we're going to get into this, but we're going to get into this after I tell a story, because one of the things happened this week was I was on somebody's podcast. Oh, by the way, Camille, welcome. Said yes, new listener. That's awesome. I was on somebody's podcast, and this was somebody that has been a viewer of this channel for some time. They reached out to me. I liked their backstory. I actually felt like what they wanted to talk about was awesome. So I was like, cool. Yeah, I'll be on your podcast. And it was funny because whenever you're beginning, or even like you've worked in audio for years, there's going to come a time when you're about to record and you get set up. You've done this 100 times. Why can't I hear it? Why can't I hear the person? Why can't I hear this? Now, this is usually one of the best ways to, whenever something like this happens, that's a lie. I was on your first stream of 2021. Hi, I vote no to censorship. I don't know who you are, but cool. Yeah, you're on. Anyways, getting back to it. There is a method of troubleshooting ways to find out why you're not getting audio. Now, one of the problems is I was over we were just texting each other over Facebook Messenger, so I couldn't really get on and tell him exactly what he needs to do to get audio from me. So I kind of left him to his own devices to figure it out. And he did, and it was a pot that needed to be up, which is one of the most, you're so frustrated with yourself when it's that simple. But I was going to check with you, Dylan, because I know you've had these instances before where you've gone through and why am I not getting audio? Why is this not coming through? How do you troubleshoot that? What's your first step in going through the whole process?
So my general philosophy with any kind of troubleshooting is Occam's razor. I don't know if you've ever heard of that concept.
Yep.
It start simple, and then if I will usually try the first three simplest things that come to mind. Like, okay, is all the equipment on? Is it all plugged in? Are there all the switches and pots that need to be up? Everything is there? And then if that fails, then I will go linearly through the signal chain, starting from the source to the destination, and just work my way through, making sure, testing where possible. That's why I really love equipment and plugins that have meters on them.
Yeah.
Really helpful for that. But no, I think don't overcomplicate it. Like, don't assume it's going to be crazy off the chain. So so I can tie a story into this as well. Before I get into that though, you should plug the podcast. Where can we find it? Where can we all listen to the?
I'm gonna have links up. Oh man.
Okay, cool.
I'm horrible here. I'm gonna go get the name of the podcast. Don't Call Me Again podcast. I think it was. Yeah.
Because I want to listen to it. I'm sure there's a couple people might want to listen to it.
It's not.
And can you billboard the subject matter at all for us? Or is it going to be a surprise?
He was talking to me from a creator standpoint of kind of the process, and kind of more just talking to me about the YouTube channel and how things have been going on YouTube and stuff like that. I'm gonna have to link it later. I promise it will be down in the description. I've got 100 things going through my head at the moment.
Yeah.
That said, I will find it.
Cool. All right. So my story is, I was called this week to help one of our producers up in Ontario North that was having Pro Tools issues. And, this was someone who's not super technically experienced, like wasn't like a computer guy, we'll say.
Sorry, cutting you off. Never Call Me Again podcast. There it is.
Never Call Me Again.
It's not up yet. We just finished recording it this morning. So Never Call Me Again podcast will be available. I will make sure he's sending me links, and I'll make sure those links are up as soon as I have them. Continue. Sorry.
No, good. I wrote that down. So we don't know the date, though? We don't know like what day it's going to be coming out?
I think his turnaround's relatively quick, though. So it should be okay.
Cool. All right. So anyway, there's a producer having an issue with Pro Tools, which is obviously their work software of choice. So that's a problem. And he was getting no audio out of Pro Tools, like at all, nothing.
Nice.
Or he couldn't get Pro Tools to work with the supplied interface, which was weird because they had this interface for like months prior to my knowledge, but suddenly it just stopped working, which it was a Motu interface, and well, Motu's drivers are not always the best, as I've come to realize. Don't get me wrong, they're great interfaces, they sound awesome, but like a lot of interface makers, especially the ones that are newer to the interface game, sometimes their drivers are really dodgy. Like I've got I'm not going to go into this in super vivid details, but I've got an SSL interface here, and Solid State Logic is like a massive company. They've been around for decades, and the software is shite.
Yeah.
The driver is like really lackluster. But anyway, so I got called in just out of the blue. It was like 8:00 in the morning, and engineering tried to help them out. They couldn't figure it out. IT tried to help them out. I'm kind of the local SME, subject matter expert, for Pro Tools. So anytime there's like a problem in Ontario for Pro Tools amongst our teams, I'm the one that gets pulled in to troubleshoot it. But anyway, so the interface wasn't working. So I was like, okay, so we're going to have to set up your system to work with the built-in sound card, which Pro Tools does not like doing that. Pro Tools likes exclusive control to everything. So anyway, I was walking through all these steps, and finally I was like, okay, well, there's about 30 solutions I could think to this in my head. But I'm going to go with the one that's easy because I can't see what this guy's doing. It's audio call only. Oh, so I'm going to have to walk him through how to fix this himself as a not technical person. So I was like, okay. So I ended up walking him through, and then there was some issue with sample rate. So I had to get him to open like command prompt and type in some commands in there to pull up it was a bit of a mess. But that said, still the easiest. So like Occam's razor, easiest problem, easiest solution. As I like to think of it. So yeah, troubleshooting, I think always, whether it's my own stuff or somebody else's stuff, I'm always troubleshooting something and trying to figure out why it's
not tough working. Because like I was working the gentleman by name of Robert Reed, who does the podcast, and he ran into the issue where he didn't pot up, which is, by the way, there's no shame in that. There's no shame in having technical troubles. No. It happens to everybody, to the best, to the worst. But he was on a Rodecaster Pro, and I haven't used a Rodecaster Pro in over a year.
Oh, wow.
So I'm like, oh, geez, I don't know. And at first I thought it was me. So I'm like making sure I'm doing all the checks on my system. And we got about 40 minutes into troubleshooting. And I only had about 2 hours before I had to go. So I'm like, all right, is there anything? And then he's like, I can hear you. Like, what was it? He's like, I didn't pot up. And it's like,
yeah, we laugh, but it's like, I've had stupider problems happen. I think
my favorite was I was sitting in a studio and I couldn't get the board to output my voice. I had the mic on, I had all that, but it was just one of the buttons for the buses. One of the buses wasn't right. I wasn't sending it to program. And so I'm like, half hour, I'm like, I call my program director and he walks in, he looks, he goes, presses one button, walks out. Like, son of a, come on.
Yeah, so, no, I hate that when somebody walks in, they fix the problem like immediately.
You're like, could you have looked for a while? Bugger. Yeah,
no. It happens. I think too, one of the worst things, one thing I will never assume it is equipment failure. No. Well, for me particularly, because I never buy crappy gear, but also because in this day and age, with the precision manufacturing that exists, even for budget level equipment, like Behringer equipment, it's still highly unlikely, especially with most of us are working on gear that's really not that old. So, and it's very rare that a piece of gear, like a board or a speaker, will just fail suddenly. Usually it's like a gradual, like, I'm noticing a hiss, or I'm noticing like something is slowly getting weird, and then. But it's rare unless it's like an SSD. They tend to crash suddenly.
And honestly, if anything, like if your equipment's going to go, one, it's going to be a cable first. Your cable will be the first thing to die. And if anything else goes, you're going to hear a pop. That's because 99% of the time when any gear goes, it's your power supply. The power supply will blow up.
And typically a capacitor. Capacitors have this thing that happens with them where the electrolytic paste in the capacitor will turn into a gas and basically blow up like a balloon.
A bomb.
And I had it once. I remember in high school we were kind of shit disturbers, for lack of a better word. And we took an Ethernet cable, like an internet cord, and spliced it to a power cable, like to an IEC, and plugged it into the back of a tower, and it was awesome. It was the best. Needless to say, we didn't care about the tower. We knew it was going to do horrible things.
Yeah.
But just, oh man, all of the interesting smells and the light show and the sounds. It was just mesmerizing. It was like the light show.
Yeah, that circuit board was more meant for data than it was for electricity, but cool.
And it, like the board had an actual Ethernet card on it, but we were like, no, that's not going to. No. So, no, but the motherboard's got an Ethernet port on it. That's going to be much more interesting.
I can imagine. Camille Backstein says, have seen your video about the Rode NT2A, TLM 103, and UA87AI.
Oh, that was one that I was on.
Fun, informative, and professional. Please, I'm considering buying the TLM 103. You know what? I would have to say about the 103 and the 102. I prefer, for me, the 102. They are incredibly different microphones. Yeah, well, I also like the smaller mic. I don't like the big mic.
You don't like compensating for things.
Right. Well, I'm also coming away from this beast, the thing that's like one of the largest mics you can get.
Hey, I showed you what I had on this boom arm last week. Yeah. That thing is like a foot tall.
Well, I just that's one of the reasons I like the C414 XLS.
Yeah, it's low profile. Low profile.
But I also prefer the sound of the 102 over the 103. The 103 still sounds nice. Like, I mean,
they are different. They are very different. And I mean, to be honest, they're both tiny. Like, I mean, they're both transformerless, TLM, transformerless microphones.
The 103 is bigger than the 102. I've got a 102 at work, and it had been a long time since I'd used a 103. And when I picked up the 103, I was like, oh my God, That is a gigantic one. Camille, the self noise on the 102 is nothing. Like it does have more self noise than the 103, but don't worry about it. The U87 AI has more self noise in both. So
both of them are quite manageable. So unless you're recording mosquitoes farting, you shouldn't really have to worry about.
Yeah, don't worry about self noise on a high end microphone. Doesn't mean anything, and if you're treating it properly, in the end, it means even less. So
yeah, and if I would say if anyone is buying a microphone strictly, and I'm not saying you are obviously, but if anyone's buying a microphone strictly on the self noise, I would say that's probably one of the least important things that you would look for in a microphone.
To a degree, there is a point where self noise becomes a problem. Actually, the microphone in the
but we're talking mics that are 1,000 and above here. Yeah, we're not talking like the budget newer microphones.
Did you watch my latest video about the
Is that the M Audio thing?
Yeah, the M Audio one. Did you watch that?
I saw it pop up, but I haven't had a chance yet.
The microphone was one of the worst microphones. Well, it sounded nice.
I was going to say the microphone and the headphones from what you've said.
The microphone was actually decent for the coloration of the microphone. The sound quality was actually not bad. The noise was ridiculous. Like I didn't gate anything. I didn't EQ anything with it, and the noise was just brutal on that mic. And that's one of those things where if you spend $100 on a microphone, you're like, yeah, I get it. But then I went I bought the P120. So the AKG P120 cost me $120. If that thing comes here and it can actually go toe to toe with the NT2A, I've never used the P120, so I'm really curious.
I don't know toe to toe. I have extensive experience because the P120 was, I guess, my first solid state tube condenser my first solid state condenser microphone. And I used it on lots of stuff, from acoustic guitars to like quiet vocals to VO. And if I were to compare it to this thing or the U87, guaranteed no contest. But I never found myself doing a whole lot of nonsense to try and make it work.
Yeah.
I never found myself like maybe sonically like sculpting EQ and compression wise, but I never found myself like, oh, I got to go and put in a noise floor or something, or a noise remover.
And that's the big thing at the $120 mark, and that's Canadian, so that must be $99 American. At $99 American to get a quality condenser is unheard of. Like, you don't.
Yeah. Well, again, it's also AKG, which is a company that has extensive experience. Now, AKG recently shut down. Now, the Perception series was never manufactured in Austria like the rest of their lineup. No. They were designed in Vienna, but built in China. Where. Yeah. So. But that said, part of me thinks, the design is the important thing, and as long as you pick a good manufacturer.
And just so you know, you can manufacture good products in China. It's not just because it comes from China, it doesn't mean it's garbage.
Well, that's what I'm saying is there are good manufacturers in China. We have this tendency where we'll see made in China and go, ugh, because most of the time people are choosing China. And even and again, I'm no expert in manufacturing, but I feel like even if you were to go with a better manufacturer in China, like on par with the quality you might expect from Europe or from North America, it would still be a lot cheaper than getting it done in Europe or North America.
But the big difference in manufacturing is QA. That's the difference. Yeah. That's the whole difference. Doesn't matter how much of it is automatic manufacturing by machinery. As long as you have proper QA, you'll have good products.
As long as they're testing it. And there's a couple manufacturers, and I'm about to name drop, that are not good at QA. PreSonus, not good at QA in my experience, and ART or Apex or Yorkville, I can't really talk because Yorkville is kind of the professional brand of
I've never used Yorkville. Avoided it.
I've only ever used their power amps, like their speaker amplifiers in a live setting, which are brick houses. They're awesome, but I've never used their mic stands probably fall apart like most budget mic stands.
Actually, Yorkville, I've actually had no problem with Yorkville mic stands. I can say that flat out. They're not expensive by any means.
I was gonna say I usually get my go-to for mic stands is K&M, which is like a German. And they'll run you back a lot, but if you're putting a $4,000 mic on it.
Yeah, see, there's two things I need to get. I need to get a good boom, and I mean a good boom. not like a Yorkville, but I also need to get a C-stand. I desperately need a C-stand. And I don't know where to buy them. They're all like $300-$400, but they're the newer ones. Newer? Those are the ones.
Yeah.
Someone's having a hard time hearing me. I'm turning up here. All right. Is that better? All right. Just want to point out, Quebecer says the noise was terrible on the phone for the M audio. I can imagine, especially coming through a phone. You're filtering all the worst possible frequencies.
Yeah, like phone. Chop it off at 4K and just nasally as hell at 2K.
Lewitt LCT440 Pure is made in China. I've never used a Lewitt.
Lewitt's are good. I can say good things about Lewitt microphones. They're reasonably priced, hence made in China, and they're good. A lot of producers that I know, pro guys, actually swear by Lewitt's. Yeah,
thanks, Ken, by the way. I appreciate the tip on hearing me. Glad you can hear me now. Dylan, you didn't say anything.
What? Well, I can hear you just fine. I just turned my headphones up.
Yeah, your headphone volume is just all the way cranked. And it's interesting.
5 o'clock.
So if that P120 comes in and it stands its ground, I've always said you can't get a great condenser under $200. And I've kind of stood by that. Condensers are one of those things that once you get down, like they have those like budget condenser boxes, you get like 2 condensers and they cost $99. And
there's one on it. Yeah, I was gonna say there's one on Amazon that's like $50, and I saw a video where someone was comparing like the newer like $50 condenser mic to a vintage AKG C12. which is like a $15,000 microphone.
I want to do that.
And it was amazing how clear, like how obvious, like even if your ears are not like audio ears per se, it was still like obvious the difference. Like, oh my God.
That's one of the questions I got, and I should have answered that during the podcast that I was doing. And he asked me, well, what are some of the things you want to do? And I really would love to do
just a really ridiculous shootout.
Every single shootout I do with a microphone ends with like a $15,000 microphone. I would like, we're testing the P120. We'll go up against the NT2A. We'll go up against this. And now for the $15,000 mic, let's see what it can do.
Well, I know the Northrops, who are like a couple of photographers on YouTube. They have a photography channel. They do that with cameras. He'll take a picture with an iPhone. And then like a Sony A7 Mark II or like a Hasselblad medium format, and what he'll do is he'll do this. There's this one interesting video that I actually should send you where he takes pictures, like the same picture essentially with all of these different cameras, and makes different sized prints with all of them, and shows that for example on an 8.5 by 11 sheet of paper. You can't tell it's an iPhone. Like even photographers looking at it going, yeah, that looks good quality. But the second you get beyond 8.5 by 11, the 12 megapixels doesn't cut it.
No.
And no, it's interesting.
Well, it's fascinating too because my videography suffers. Like I'm not as much of a video nerd as I was a photography nerd. So to me, more megapixels was better. Like, it's a 26 megapixel. Sure.
Until you get kneecapped by the video resolution. It's like, wow.
But that's the thing. But that's also the light. And I was actually watching a video. The more megapixels, the less light. So they're not going to deal with light. You're not going to have low light.
Because the way that it, like most cameras, in fact, from what I understand it anyway, the way most cameras downsample is not the same way that like Premiere Pro downsamples, where it'll take the average from the region. The cameras will just they don't work like that.
Yeah, and if they don't have information. So if you want good low light performance, you need less megapixels. So that's why a lot of the prosumer, so like the new Sony A7 III is a 12 megapixel camera, because it needs to be able to absorb the light for the video, and it just blew my mind. I'm like, I never even thought of that. So
now that said, also having good glasses,
obviously that does help with low light. Also, like Canon's good for low light, but then it's also, is it good for low light because it has the computer inside of it kind of upsampling for you when it comes to the light?
I found this a camera body, like as far as model, has a huge impact on low light performance. Like I saw a video on YouTube, another YouTuber plug, Jared Polin, Frono's there. He did a ISO noise comparison between the D500, which is Nikon's APS-C flagship, and the D5, and it was crazy. Like at the exact same, like 3600 ISO or whatever, it was the same. It was like crazy how not only how much less grain there was, but how much more complementary. Like how it didn't look like it didn't look like noise. It looked like grain.
Yeah.
On the D5, whereas on the D500 it looked like noise. Like it was just colors all over the place. It looked like garbage.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think like in my case, I've got my I'm looking at getting a 28 millimeter 1.8.
Nice.
My go-to is my 50 mil 1.4, which has amazing light performance, obviously. And also lovely bokeh.
I use and I wanted to use the bokeh, but the problem is I don't want to set up my camera 10 feet away from me. And that's the thing. Like if I've got a 50 that I love. I've also got a 24, but it's a 24 2.8 pancake lens.
Is your camera a crop sensor or full frame?
It's crop. It's a T7i. So I use the Canon
mine's
T7i,
crop too.
And it's great, but with the 50 mil, it's like an 85. So my camera's 10 feet behind or in front of me. I have a wide angle 10 to 16. So I can, but it's a 2.8. So you get zero bokeh. Like you get a little bit of the nice, if my background is like 10 feet behind me, it's not too bad. But yeah, anyways.
Yeah, I've got my I've got my heart set right now. I wanted to know, because originally I was looking at a 35 mil, because I find the 50 mil is like just ridiculous as far as just how on a crop sensor camera how far in it is. But so I was, what I did is I was like, well, I don't know, because I'm a Nikon guy. I've got a Nikon body, so I'm obviously gonna get a Nikon lens. But I was looking, they've got like a 20, a 24, and a 28, and a 35. So I'm like, Jesus. And to get I would want a 1.8 of whatever those are, and depending on which one of those it is, you're looking at the difference of maybe 500 or $2,000 because obviously. So what I did is I just took my kit lens and I just set it to each of those settings, took pictures of my face, and I wanted a lens that would give me good depth, but at the same time didn't have just ridiculous lens distortion that would make my nose look more massive than it already is. So I took, and then I settled on a 28. 28 I found was the best. So I think I'm looking at a 28 1.8, which is about $800, which is not stupid.
No, it's not bad. I'm looking, instead of going more glass, I'm going to be going full frame.
Full frame.
Yeah.
I was going there, but for a reasonable price. The only Nikon that really offers that is the D750, which is a camera that's almost 8 years old.
Yeah.
So other than that, I would be looking at the Z6, which is a mirrorless.
I'm changing from Canon.
Where are you going, to Sony?
Yeah. The A7C looks phenomenal. I'm going mirrorless, obviously. I refuse.
And their prices are good.
They're not bad. I'm going with the Sony A7C, which is still $3,000 with decent glass, because I've got to get at least a 24. I want to get a wide angle with that. So that's the one thing.
Can you get a mount? Can you get a mount adapter for your Canon lenses for it?
I don't know if it's worth it, because then you put the crop back on with the mount.
Yes, well, so I guess you have crop sensor lenses.
Yeah.
See, I'm in a good spot for my.
No, they're not
for
crop sensor lenses. They're not crop sensor lenses. Like my 50 mil is a 50 mil. The problem is the mount adds a crop. All mounts add crops.
Yeah.
So if you were to
with the exception of the F to Z that Nikon came out with for their Z series cameras, which they did that because all the Nikon people are pissed off that they invented a new mount.
Yeah, but
so I had to do something.
Yeah. So I would have to look into what the crop would be for a Sony to a Canon mount.
Yeah.
But
because I was gonna say my if I were to try and use the kit lens that I got with my crop camera on a full frame camera, it would put the full frame camera into crop right away to avoid vignetting. Whereas the 50 mil that I have is it's an FX lens, so it wouldn't be crop.
I think all the nifty 50s are full or crop. I think.
Yeah. Well, mine's the 1.4. The 51.4.
So that's definitely, even the 1.8 though, the nifty 50, they all go full frame as well.
It's weird because the nifty 50's got the DX written on the lens, so usually those are crop. Like it's automatically which is annoying.
I'm gonna pull my camera out here. If it falls on the ground, I get to upgrade it right away.
Plop.
The lens I use for zoom is the Tokina 11-16, 2.8. And I'm pretty sure
that's like fisheye galore.
Oh, it's DX2. No, it's not that. The fisheye's not that bad. It's a little bit at 11.
At 11, no, I was gonna say.
I punch into 16 for all my videos.
I was gonna say you're probably zoomed all the way in.
Yeah, no, it's but also
I think
at 11.
My lens, my kit lens starts at 18.
Yeah, but if at 11, this thing would be right in front of my face, and I would still see the whole room around me.
Yeah. Which I mean, depending on what you're going for, like for real estate photos, that's great.
Well, I want to make videography a little bit more of my channel. I want to make more storytelling with the videos,
cinematography and stuff.
Not necessarily cinematography, but having a dialogue told by the video, right? Like instead of just like me sitting there, go, "Welcome to Dark Corner Studios. My name's Aiden Wolf." It could be like,
start off with some killer B-roll. Yeah.
Can you the Jared L Mount Alliance? What? I have no idea what you mean, Quebecer. No idea.
I think he's talking about Canon, L Canon. Yeah.
Can you Jared though? I'm not exactly sure what that is. I don't know if I can Jared. It was an autocorrect somehow. That's a. Get back to me with what you mean by that, there, Quebecer.
Or he was talking about Jared Poland, which I brought up earlier.
Oh, can I Jared Poland? Oh, I'm Jerry Rig. L Mount Alliance,
okay.
But then what's L Mount Alliance?
Well, L mount isn't that Canon's mount? Isn't that L?
No, it's not L mount. It's
because I know they're high end glasses. Like they're usually the L glass they call it or whatever.
Yeah, I don't have L glass, man.
I was gonna say the red ring lenses. It's like Nikon with the gold ring lenses.
Yeah. Oh, so Camille brings up a good point. A good camera has to team up with a great light. I would honestly say your camera doesn't matter.
If you've got a good light, if you know what not even if you have a good light, if you know what you're doing with light.
Yep.
Because if you do, you can jerry rig a lot of shit. Now that said, a great light really is helpful.
Yeah. I mean, it's huge. But here's the thing, right? Like I started this studio, Aperture LS300X. I'm gonna actually look into that. I think I know which one you're talking about. That one's a chunky, expensive one.
Yeah, it's a big old.
I started my channel with the exact same camera I'm using now. And if you go back and look at the videos that I started my channel with to what I'm doing now, you would think I upgraded tenfold.
It's just technique.
It's lighting. And the funny thing, and you can actually see one right behind me. I see that piece of paper right there. So what that is a Neewer light stand that came. It came with these crappy fluorescent bulbs and these crappy white umbrellas. And I got them. I'm like, they didn't really do much. So I went to Home Depot and I grabbed these LED floodlights. I put the floodlights in. They're like 2,000 lumen or something like that. They're ridiculously bright.
Blow your head off.
And I shot a couple videos with just those flat out on me. And somebody messaged me saying, "Dude, you need to diffuse your light." And I'm like, "Oh,
it's really hard.
How do I do that?" He's like, "Piece of paper, dude." So I literally put a piece of paper over my LED lights. And
now it's important to note, make sure they're LED and not halogen.
Yes. You can't put paper. I do have halogen lights that actually warm up my room the minute I turn them on. I refuse to use them because I sweat like an SOB.
I remember once when I used to do theater work, and we used to use these big honking 850 watt ellipsoidal fixtures, halogens, and we used to have we made these really chintzy gel frames out of cardboard. and one time I put a gel frame that wasn't quite matched with the size of the ellipse, like the light opening, and it literally burst into flames like within about 10 seconds.
See, and
we just noticed ashes started falling from the scrims, and we're like, what the? And I'm like, oh no, good God.
Camille says I can recommend the 300X. I'm looking at that. That's probably one of my next big purchases. But it's hard to ignore when I'm getting by with like $20 of lighting, and I get what I get. That said, my next big upgrade for the studio will probably be lighting and then camera. I have halogen lights. I think I might donate them to a theater group because I don't like. You can't even buy gels for them anymore. You can't buy where?
you have to go through the sources, Roscoe, Lux, and a lot of different places.
So you
Again,
can't
I know
do Amazon.
you have to figure out whether. I think you can either. I mean, you're not going to get great gels.
Well,
I think you can.
I got some
gels
gels for LEDs, which are fine. They're the
I
gels.
ordered. I actually know you can order because I have ordered some warming and cooling. Gels through Amazon. And again, they weren't Roscoe or Lee's, so they weren't like notable gel companies, but they were still like they work.
Well,
I don't reckon the pigment. I'm using them on halogen lamps, so I don't reckon they're gonna last very long.
Well, and that's the thing. Like the halogen lights I have a gorgeous light to them. Like it's so
there's the color
beautiful.
rendering is perfect.
It's
they have
so
such
nice.
a natural tone.
But as soon as I like lit it up, you can feel the heat. It's almost like you're sitting in direct sunlight. I'm like, but then I'm thinking I can actually replace the bulbs. But then they're 30-year-old bulbs that are in there. Sorry, I'm just going off camera. 1 second. I can find the bulbs. Continue.
I was gonna say because I know my par cans. I've got 56 just par cans. And they have, halogens in them. But I know if I really wanted to, for an absurd amount of money, I can go out and I can buy LEDs that fit that same dual prong par socket.
See, this is the one that I've got. This one, you can get these for LEDs. This one is a 600 watt, which this is the background light or the hair light, whatever you want to use it for. These are the other ones. These are also 120 volt, 600 watt. And they're the double prong. I have no bloody clue where to buy this stuff.
You've got to go to a retailer that specifically deals in lighting stuff.
But then they're all closed because everything's closed down right now.
Well, no, you can order one that's in my neck of the woods that you can order online from is called AV Shop. So they've got some stuff.
Yeah, but I don't know. I want to go in and talk to somebody about my best chances because there's also when you're doing lighting, if this is 600 watts. You don't want a 600 watt LED.
No, you want. Well, obviously, you want something that's comparable.
But that's what they have is they have a chart. So if you're replacing 600 watts, you replace it with this.
Yeah.
And that's with like this 600 watt here. I have no idea. So I want to actually go in and talk to somebody and go, what are my options? But you don't have.
Call somebody. You could phone somebody.
No.
I'm like you. I like going in and actually talking, camaraderie, connecting with someone. At a store, certain stuff you can't.
Oh, this is a good one. Quebecer says, "Do you need anything from Germany before I get back to Canada?" There's a lot of
everything.
Things.
I was gonna say, like a couple cars, a couple of Neumanns.
Hey, it's never call me again.
Stuff.
Never call me again. Podcast is on. Asking what headphones are you using, Dylan?
What headphones? These are the Shure SRH 940s.
So he's the 2 steps up from the one I've got.
Yeah, so these are my go-to for the longest time for mixing. My go-to is the 1840s, the open back SRH 1840s. But for listening, mix checking, general listening, my go-to for the longest time are the 840s, which is their flagship. Which I think you, Aiden, you said you were going to look into.
Oh, I'm going higher. I think we're going for the 18s.
You're going for the 18s? Well, again, if you're planning on using them for VO, don't, because they're open back. So you're going to get a hell of a lot of bleed.
I would probably keep these or go up to the 840s. I think I'm dropping a lot of money on cans soon.
I think because, the 1840s are about $600, $700, give or take.
Yeah.
I don't know what they're at now.
I thought they were about $1,000. That's why I was shying away from them. And then I'm like, oh, they're $600. $700.
Oh, yeah. Well, even the ones that I have are only like $400, I think. But these sound good. Amazing. These sound great. They're passive, so there's no batteries or Dr. Dre Beats BS.
Dreets.
Dr. Dreets.
Better.
I like Dreets too. Yeah, let's go my Dreets.
Camille, thank you. Thank you. I've never gotten a super chat before. That's amazing.
Nice.
£5. Your first money for your new LS300X. I'm going to put that towards my new LS300X. By the way, I'll just point out, I think we've got like 9 people on here. Just so you know, I don't expect super chats. If you guys want to give super chats, I'll never say no, but at the same time, I don't expect any. I'm definitely not doing these live streams for any cash. I do this because
you're not one of those big YouTubers that'll only call people out if they give them super chats.
Well, and this is what irritates me, okay? I watch Linus's stream on Fridays. And yes, I get it. He gets like, you see like messages just constantly pouring.
Oh yeah, like 5,000 people at a time.
There's
like,
no way
crazy.
he can follow that. But at least have a moderator. If there's a big one in there, people shouldn't need to spend money to talk to you as a creator. At least have one moderator on there going, oh, you know what? I see there was one big question that I would really love to hear what Linus's answer is to, but unless you super chat him, he doesn't answer.
Yeah, and it feels greasy to me from a commerce standpoint. I understand when you get to their level, time is a huge commodity. So if it doesn't make money, there's no point in spending time on it. That's their attitude. It makes me feel gross. But at the same time, it's hard for me. It's hard for me to imagine being at that level because I personally have never been at that level where I'm like, I can only do things for money.
Yeah, I've never been there either. I don't know.
That said, like if there's something that I know, like I have turned down as a record producer, I have turned down clients before that I'm like, okay, the amount of vocal coaching it's going to take me to get you up to a point where you're manageable is not worth my time. So but that said, if somebody wants me to critique, like if people send me demos, semi-regular, like at least once a week, I'll get a set of demos from people saying, hey, what do you think of this song? Or what do you think of these radio spots? Or what do you think of this VO? Happily we'll give you, a couple paragraphs worth of critique and tell you what I think about your stuff.
I love the process of talking. And one of the reasons, and I was going over this with Never Call Me Again, one of the reasons I do this is I enjoy the interaction. Like, I enjoy getting the comments on stuff, especially when they're not douchebag comments, when people are actually asking me a question. I might not be able to answer every question. I'll try, but I just like the fact that we're talking. And when I
we've been through our fair share of douchebag comments.
but that's what I like. That's why I love this. It's going to sadden me, and I'm almost at the point where I can't answer every comment on YouTube anymore. Almost there.
Really? Mazel tov.
I mean, yeah, it's great, but at the same time, it's also like that's the aspect of it I love.
Yeah, well, it's almost like somebody compared this to like a really successful artist. I forget who it was. Compared this to like dropping a fishbowl on the ground and you can only save like 4 of the fishes. So which ones do you save? Like it's like I feel bad.
Yeah, well, and that's the thing. Like the love of the interaction is cool. But then it's also, there's some people out there that need your help, that don't have anyone to turn to. Like they might not have and that's, to me, like I feel for that because I was there. I was that guy, I'm still that guy in a lot of respects, who, has no clout in messaging people on Instagram, hoping to get some, feedback or some, network a little bit. But, it's so hard these days. But, if you shoot for intermediate level and I think
creators,
I think I'm gonna do that. And I know, like, if you listen to Linus, he still says that he almost reads almost every comment, and I think that's where
it probably takes him a damn long time, but I'm sure I believe it. I believe it.
I think I'm gonna, when it gets to the point where I can no longer read comments, I think that's where I'm gonna have to go with it, where I'll just read them all. I won't respond to them all, but I'll respond to the ones that I think are, you heart them all, right? You give them the creator heart or whatever you've got. So I think that's, but it's going to sadden me. And by the way, speaking of Quebecer, American guy, you can plug your YouTube link in chat. Who's that American guy? Not sure. Anyways, Quebecer, if you've got Germany, what would you want from Germany before you come back? There's so many things, dude. Beer.
Yeah.
He says the red label
some
beer
solid
so
schnitzel.
Schnitzel. I don't know.
Schnitzel.
See, we have actually, I don't know why, by the way, you're in Germany. We actually canceled our European vacation last year, actually. We were going to do it this year. Now we're canceling it again because of COVID, obviously.
Well, you don't know. Maybe there's a Quebec, Germany. There could be 2 Quebecs.
There is some beer from even Quebec, Germany, or Germany, Quebec that I would take. Ronnie Robertson, hi guys, greetings from the south of France. Wow, this is cool, man.
We're all over. We're all over. Yeah.
South of France. Hopefully you guys are doing
Netherlands,
good with COVID,
Germany, America apparently. We're in France now. Oh my god.
Oh, that's kind of cool. still stuck on the. Camille says, "Nice way to spend the evening. We have a curfew here." Oh, that's right. We actually, I'm in Quebec, Canada, and we have a curfew as well.
Oh yeah, that's right. You do. Huh?
Yeah, and the police in Quebec, the police in Quebec are, especially one of my favorite things about Quebec police. This is the greatest thing ever. Is they'll pull you over, and I'll say something to them and they'll go, "Parle anglais? Parle français?" And as soon as you say "Parle anglais," a small smile spreads, and they're like, dear. "Okay, so you're about to get 15 tickets."
Yeah, you're about to get bent over a barrel.
Oh, it's brutal. Oh, Quebecers military just east from Toronto. That's cool.
Oh, nice.
Glenn's trying to get a hold of me, the engineer.
I was going to say beep, 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 beep.
Glenn might actually be watching right now. Glenn, if you're watching, hi.
Hi, Glenn.
Yeah.
Hi, Glenn. Get some cab tire.
The engineer for my radio station. So we were planning on going to Germany, and we're going to start in Germany because we need to get a cuckoo clock. So we're going to finish. They shoot you there. The Netherlands, they don't shoot you, do they? No way.
That's badass if they do. I mean, I don't know if I agree with it, but that's great.
Camille says they shoot you if you're out past curfew. Really?
Oh my god.
I was going to go to the Netherlands.
Was such a peaceful country. Yeah, I always thought Netherlands, those Scandinavian countries, right? Yeah. I always thought they were all so nice.
I thought you were like Canada. Damn, Camille. Oh, just kidding.
Savage.
Okay. Be nice. Yeah, just kidding. Okay, good to know. Good to know.
Good to know. I was gonna say it doesn't seem very on brand.
We were gonna start in Germany, and my wife was gonna leave me in Germany, and then she was gonna go to UK, and I was gonna backpack throughout Europe, and then she was gonna join up with me after and finish the backpack. And that's the one exciting thing. Germany was like, between Germany and going to Amsterdam, I don't know if I need to go anywhere else.
No,
the alcohol and then Amsterdam. Like, I mean, you don't even need a bullet list when you're talking about Amsterdam. You're just like, Amsterdam. That's one.
Especially alcohol, especially Amsterdam during the alcohol. That's especially fun.
I think I would have to do Amsterdam or alcohol, because Amsterdam's not just like
not really at the same time. Yeah. No,
you can buy anything in Amsterdam, and I look to find out how much it costs. So,
and there are more cyclists than there are motor vehicles.
Oh, that's probably for the best.
Yep.
Colne Amazing. What's Colne Amazing? See, what is Colne? Colne, I'm guessing. It's got the 2 dots over the O.
The umlaut.
Umlaut. Thank you. That was going to drive me a little bit nuts. There is something I did want to discuss. I had it up all week on my tabs, and then I closed that one tab. Gear Sluts is changing their name.
To what?
They don't know, but they were petitioned because the name was. Remember,
sluts.
We were talking about that a couple weeks ago. How we're like, we feel really bad. Oh, Köln is a city. Cool. I need to go there.
Köln.
It's amazing.
Köln.
I'll work on it.
Yeah.
So we were talking about this a couple weeks ago on stream, that the name Gear Sluts, I feel weird saying. Like, it's just.
Yeah, well, it just doesn't seem. I can see how certain groups would be offended by it, but I think like just as a brand name, like, just as an example.
Yeah, but women using the site, women that work for them,
are considered gear sluts.
That's problematic.
I happily refer to my friends as with the term of endearment as a gear slut. But I am a gear slut.
But that's also but that's obviously where it came from. I've referred to myself as a gear whore because I am. I don't see a piece of gear and go, yeah, I don't need that. So I'm like, okay.
Oh yeah, I accumulate crap and I'm like, I'm gonna need this once. Why did I buy this?
But then I also
from a political standpoint, I can understand the changing, but also from a corporate, like if they're trying to come off as a little more serious.
Yeah.
Like the name Gear Sluts for me, like don't get me wrong, Gear Sluts I have a love-hate relationship for Gear Sluts because I find it's one of the most opinionated places on the internet. But,
by the way, Jesus, Ken. Jeez. I am not repeating that, Ken.
Okay, yes. Now I'm curious.
I will refer to myself as that, a gear whore. Mm-hmm. But I would never go to a dinner sitting around with a bunch of people that I don't know and refer to myself as one.
No.
But
That's yeah.
But that's the line. And you know why? Because you might actually offend somebody. And
or somebody might, misunderstand.
Well, and that's the thing. But that's where a lot of people are like, that's stupid. It's just a name. Well, here's the thing. If you're not willing to use it in all company, you can't use it for a business name. And
now that said, there's lots of things, even industry jargon, which there are many websites named after that I'm not comfortable using in random company.
And especially where'd you get that information? A website.
I'd say maybe 10% of what I talk about on a daily basis I would use as a conversation starter with a rando.
Well, you know what? I'm more comfortable referring to Pornhub than I am. You
know what? I agree. I can agree with that.
I could go on to any kind of dinner situation with anybody, and if I dropped the name Pornhub, nobody would look uncomfortable.
I can agree with that.
Yeah. If I said gear sluts, you'd probably see 2 or 3 like, what the? Like it's because
I think part of it is because I don't know, Pornhub, especially in the more liberated circles, which are becoming pretty much every circle now, is the adult industry stuff is seen as, kind of a liberated, it's fine. Nothing's so if you have a problem with Pornhub, you kind of look like you're making yourself look like an ass.
Yeah, nobody has a problem with Pornhub.
I feel like even if people did have a problem with Pornhub, they're not going to say it because they know what it means.
Yeah, you just clear your history more often than the other person. I'm sorry. It's
incognito.
Basically. Ken says promiscuous gear consumers. I like that. See, I can run with that. I am gear fluid.
Gear fluid. Gear fluid.
Yes, I am. I don't see any gear.
I'm gear curious.
I'll use any microphone. Doesn't matter to me.
Yeah. Yeah, you will.
But it's so true, right? So they're changing their name. They don't know what it's going to yet. All we know is the petition that was online garnered a lot of support, and it looks like that support is paying off where they just said, all right, we'll do it. And you'd think a message board like Gear Sluts has so much background, so much history that they could change it to whatever they wanted and it wouldn't matter. Because they still own gearsluts.com, is it? Or is it .net? They still own
I think they would still... They would still...
Well, they would just redirect from it.
They would be fine in the sense that they already have the market base. They have the niche. They've carved a spot out for themselves, changing a name. They just have to point people in the right direction.
Well, and
they'd probably keep the domain Gear Sluts up for a year and then just have it as a pointer.
Now, if they change the name, let's say they go with something like Gear Talk or something like that, does this make all the douchebags less douchey? Because it's full of that website is ridiculous for douchebags.
No, it does not. Yeah, no, it'll be the exact same.
Really?
It's not going to make anybody less douchey. Oh, 100%.
That's what I was hoping for.
I've had people that were on there, back when I was, how many years ago was this? Maybe 2016. And they were talking about the U87 AI, which is technically the modern day version of the microphone that you will buy is the U87 AI. And people were shitting on it, going, it's not the same. You're better off buying a original U87 or get a U47. Yeah, I was like, yes, because they've definitely made U47s in the last 40 years, you idiots. What do you think the odds? I hate when people do that. They're like, well, actually, I prefer the original AKG C12. It's so much better sounding. The texture is so much more palatable for me. It's like, yes, because everyone's bound to find one of those lying around every music store. Shut up.
I remember way back when I was first starting out and I grabbed a mic and I was looking for an interface and I went on Gear Sluts, and a lot of people's first interface is a Scarlett.
Yep.
It's
which is a good interface.
Yeah, it's not low end. It's low-ish, it's on the entry level.
The price is low end, but the performance is
even the price,
I would say, moderate.
You can't get a Scarlett for $99.
Can you get any interface for $99?
Oh yes, you can.
This is how not out of the loop in that. I don't want to cringe, so I actively avoid looking for those kinds of things.
The M Audio Air is one of them. I didn't mind it. It wasn't like, it's not going to blow your socks off. However, it dealt with the SM7B okay. Like, I had to boost it and post a bunch, but it wasn't horrible. That said, it was at 99% gain. I didn't go that extra 1% for all the room tone. I just kept with like quarter room tone. So you can get them. So Scarlett's not that low end. You still pay like $200 for an entry-level Scarlett. But then I went on to Gear Sluts, and everybody on there, everybody's using a Scarlett. It's garbage. You shouldn't use Scarletts. They suck. They're
See, if I think Gear Sluts is a site to go on if you know your shit about audio. If you're starting out in the industry, never, ever, ever go on Gear Sluts, because you will come away from there like with a purchase phobia. Because they will, nobody ever agrees on anything unanimously. Like, people will be like, like preamps is a good example. Some people will be like, I love the Great River preamps. They sound awesome. And someone's like, it sounds like a Mackie. Go for a Neve 1073. And then some guy will come in, the 1073 doesn't sound anything like the 1081. And it's like, just shut up.
And you're sitting there with your $300 like, can I get anything for this?
Yeah, exactly. So API makes a channel strip that's like $3,000, and it's got an EQ, I think an onboard compressor. I was looking at getting it for a while because it's API makes amazing sounding stuff, and it's like $3,600, and it's one channel. and it doesn't even have an interface in it. And I'm on Gear Sluts looking it up, and guys are like, it sounds like the Behringer. I'm like, are you deaf? I think you're deaf. I think you've been doing live hip-hop mixing a little too long there, bud.
Someone needs to be put on a Behringer for a couple weeks, and I think that needs to be the rule. Anybody that's a gear snob, if you are going to shit talk gear that is entry level, when my PreSonus blew up, my PreSonus is still up there. I haven't sold it. When it blew up, a buddy of mine dropped off a Behringer Q502 just so I could get by and get on the air. Dude, the quality difference is, you can taste it. You can taste the
difference quality makes.
You can taste the Behringer in the back of your throat. It's so bad. And I've never once said buy Behringer, and there's a reason for that. Because all you do is spend $20 extra and you've got something that's mind-blowingly better. Like, it's ridiculous. That said,
Behringer does have, and I would be remiss if I didn't mention it, some intermediate products that are good. For example, the X32.
Yeah, that doesn't cost $99.
No, it's $3,000, but still. So the X32, the S16 Snakehead, they even have a digital headphone controller that's, it's not above, it's not in the 4-figure range yet, but it even sounds pretty. I think I honestly, and this is hard for me to say without getting a little bit of bile in my throat, because for years I shat on Behringer because I haven't owned a lot of Behringer stuff, but I've rented a lot of Behringer stuff and had it crap out. I've used Behringer mics, and I'm like, what the hell is this piece of this wouldn't be worth a paperweight. And then, Behringer started teaming up with the big play. Like, Behringer is one of these companies that will mimic designs of superior products, and they'll make them for cheaper. They've been doing that with speaker monitors. They've been doing, like, I have a set of Behringer active studio monitors, actually, that sound actually pretty good, but they're modeled after some JBL active monitors. And then they look identical. Like, Behringer didn't even try to change how they looked. They're like, all right, we're going to take off their logo, put our logo on there, swap out all the capacitors for, 20 point, like 2-cent capacitors, and sell it for still a decent markup. But
yeah, and you know what? Once again, anyone listening that's running Behringer, I'm not sitting here saying you're wrong, because you do what you can afford.
Yeah, and does it do what you want it to do? If the answer is yes, then nobody has the right to tell you that you're wrong.
But I will tell you, if you are cash in hand sitting there looking to buy an interface or a microphone or anything like that, and you can put an extra $20 down, the XM8500, $20 extra gets you the SM58.
To do it.
To buy the SM58. Don't
do it.
Spend the extra $20.
No competition.
If you can't spend the extra $20,
wait.
The XM8500 isn't horrible.
But still, like you're just gonna probably end up replacing it anyway.
Yeah, and the XM8500 has very low resale value.
No, like, I mean honestly, as far as equipment that is at entry level price, that is an industry standard. The only thing that you're really gonna find is the SM58. Yeah, it's entry level priced and it's an industry standard.
They have another SM that's costs half the price of the SM58. I can't remember the name of it. SM.
Is it the SM MV7?
No.
The SMV7?
Is it the 48? I think it's an SM something like that. And it only costs like $50 US. I wouldn't. I'm a little skeptical on Shure lately as well. After the MV7 debacle, so
no. 58's tried and true and tested. Do it, or the SM7.
I was also talking about before we go. I was also talking. This is one of the ideas I had that I let slip with the podcast. Never Call Me Again podcast, which I'm okay with. This concept though has been following me around for a while. I want to brutal test the 58. So you know how it's supposed to be near indestructible.
There's video, like, go on YouTube. There's a video of a guy boiling it and putting it in the freezer, running over it with his car, and they test it after each time.
I'm going further than that.
You should do it. You should do it.
I'm going to.
Because honestly, and I say this, like, so yeah, a guy, like, threw it, I think it was from, like, a 10 or a 14-foot high, like, on concrete, and don't get me wrong, the grill was absolutely just, like, it was flattened, but they did a sound test, and frequency response was, I mean, not exactly the same in most cases, but he put it in the microwave. Like,
well, I'm not going to microwave because that's stupid. But I've got a few brick walls. I have a few really high places. I've got.
Are you gonna run over it with your car?
I'm gonna drag it for 3 blocks. I'm gonna run it over with my car. I've got a whole gauntlet.
Or better yet, like tie it to your like the trailer hitch on your car and like drive it for 3 blocks.
Yeah, that's what I'm gonna do.
at like 70k an hour. Oh just yeah, little tail hanging off the back.
Yep, that's what I'm gonna do.
You'll probably in the process, like you might want to use a cable you don't care about too much.
No, I mean that is also one of the concerns. I'm also gonna have a car follow me, so if a police sees me, they're not gonna pull me over. So a car will be following just close enough with my GoPro on the hood. That'll be the follow camera. Also, just in case there's a cop around the area that wants to wonder why I'm dragging something behind my car. So I'm going to do a full battery test of the SM58. That's one of the videos I really want to do this year. And it's going to be one of my things. Oh, and before I go, there's also one other thing. One of the things I had my goals test was to get out of the studio more often. And that's what I want to do. Ken says, yes, SM48, it's tinny and more handling noise. Noted.
No thanks.
Not gonna bother.
No thanks.
Nope. Camille says, haha, that video would be funny. That's what I want. I really want.
Do it. Get some humor in there. Get some character.
And that's the ultimate mic drop. I just named the video. Oh, that's perfect. The ultimate mic drop. That's what it's gonna be. I mean,
that should be. That's an amazing name, actually.
Yeah.
Like I second this.
I have one gripe before we end this. I was looking through it, and I don't care. I'm not angry. I'm not upset. I'm just more really confused. I understand why people will dislike a video. I've never once disliked a video on YouTube. I don't watch videos I don't want to watch.
No, I don't. So, I don't generally do that.
However, I can understand why somebody would dislike a video like the M Audio video I put out. 3 people have disliked it, and that's fine. I have no problem with people because they disagree with me. Maybe I insulted their purchase.
I think some people maybe think, like, in their brain when they if it's a product video that's garbage, like by hitting dislike they're agreeing with you. Like I do know some people that use the dislike like that. Cool. I don't, but I know some people that do.
That's cool. And
they'll do a video like if you do a rant about something you hate, and they'll hit dislike like yeah, totally, like I hate it too, and it's like, well, that's not what that's for.
Yeah, that's okay. Good job.
Yeah.
One of my worst performing videos is the Rodecaster Pro one that I've got 40 likes and like 80 or 60 likes and 86 dislikes. And
oh my God.
It's because I said I didn't.
What did you do?
I said I didn't like the Rodecaster Pro's drivers because they use the ASIO for all drivers, which are garbage. The setup on those are stupid.
Did you get any comments that were in tandem with those dislikes?
Oh yeah, yeah. Oh, lots of hate from that. You're so wrong. You're stupid. All this stuff. And cool. If you disagree with me and you want to dislike, I don't mind. However, when I have a video up like my goals for 2021 video, where I basically talk about
dislikes it.
So my goals that I reached for 2020, the goals that I maybe didn't reach, and what I'm going to be doing going forward with 2021. How do you dislike that? Maybe like
trolls. It's literally trolls.
Like once again, I'm not going to lose sleep over it. I'm just more baffled by somebody.
No, it's like YouTube, like Twitter, is full of trolls. Yeah, and I guarantee it's probably you've probably managed to somehow. you here's the thing, you've gathered some, you know, moderate success. So of course the shitheads, pardon my language, who are sitting at home in their mom's basement at 45, unemployed, not doing anything with their life. Yeah. No offense to anybody that might be in that situation.
If we have any 45-year-olds living at home, Dylan apologizes completely. He is sorry.
But there's lots of people in life who are miserable, and as a result, they have to make everybody else miserable. So
yeah, I guess so.
I would assume if you're making a goal, like a personal accomplishment or a hopeful accomplishment video, and someone's disliking that, there is no logical reason in my mind. And I would challenge somebody, like I would say, if you're ever going to dislike a YouTube video, leave a comment. Say why.
Well, exactly. Ken says
because I think it's all of our civic duty, if you want to call it, to if we don't like something, help the person maybe not understand why you didn't like it and maybe not do it again.
Yeah.
And the only way you can do that is by telling them why you don't like it.
Once again, I don't care. I do love Ken's comment. Only sluts dislike DC Studio videos. That's right.
Yeah.
I think that's using that word wrong, by the way, Ken, just so you know.
Well, I'm a slut, so I guess I should go and dislike a bunch of your videos.
Yeah.
Like right now.
Damn it. The ones you're in, definitely the ones you're in, right?
Yes, I'll just go through the 2 that I'm in, and and all the lives. I'll go through all the live streams and dislike those 2.
Once again, Dylan is starting his own YouTube channel. It's on the way. We're going to let you know. We'll have the link for it as soon as it's here. We've already been discussing some collaborations we're going to be having. Dylan and I will be working closely, especially through the growth period and trying to get this up and running. One of the things that will be happening is him and I are going to be splitting duties on stream nights. So Friday nights, one week it'll be on my channel, the next week it'll be on Dylan's. So when Dylan does,
damn it! Now I got to do OBS.
Yeah, you got to get OBS.
But I have it. I just don't like using it.
I'll show you how to do it. It's all good. Once Dylan is done and ready to do that, just letting you know, you will have to subscribe if you want to check out the videos on the weekend.
Oh, you slimy bastard! I see what you did there.
Well, no, but that's I mean, that's
either that or you're all very satisfied with the bi-weekly stream. Which is
well, once again, these streams aren't done for money. Like, I'm not sitting here hoping for money from this. It's the viewers you get from it are usually the ones that actually support the channel. Yeah. Kevin wants to know before we go, hey, Dylan, big fan of your mic explanations. Thoughts on that Shure MV7?
Nope. The answer is no. Okay, so here's the thing. If you are you don't have an interface, let's say you've got a laptop, ideally. Or like a Mac Pro or like a small computer, we'll say, not a desktop, and you want a microphone that is probably it's hard because I haven't used the Yeti, but
Yeti's
like
garbage.
I'm thinking
Stay away from the Yeti.
So as far as USB microphones, you don't want to buy an interface. I would say now the MV7 is not comparable to the SM7. No. Do not buy it with the understanding Shure is selling it like it is not. If you want more on that, you can go back and watch Aiden's video that he did on the MV7 way back when. And but I would say so it's not comparable if you're putting it in the same league as the SM7. But if you need a microphone, it's your first mic, you want to have something substantial that's not $50, then I would say the MV7 is a decent choice. If you're not really going to be able to use it if you're planning on recording multiple people, because it does have an XLR output, but I would say buying the MV7 only makes sense if you don't have an interface.
Yeah, it only makes sense if you're not going XLR. The XLR out, the sound quality of that capsule on the XLR out is garbage.
It's actually worse than the built-in chintzy USB interface. Yeah. But I would say, if you're looking for a USB mic that either you want to use on the go, or let's say, like I could see if you're a voiceover person and you are on the road a lot, which some people are that way, and you need a mobile rig, get the MV7.
Yeah.
It'll serve you well.
It has some uses. Ken wants to know what's Dylan's channel name.
We're not even there yet.
Once it's up and running.
I'm pandering some brand ideas in my head for a channel name, but we will mention it on one of these streams. So stay tuned to these, and we'll bring that on board.
Kevin says, yep, I actually use an SM7B for my music recordings, live streams, stellar mic. I was asking as a second desk mic for Zoom occasional voiceover recordings. If you're already using an SM7B, the MV7 is going to disappoint you. I will say that.
I can see what you're saying, though, because you might want to have, like, depending on what DAW you're using, like, for example, me right now, this SM7 is wired into an interface that is otherwise not accessible by Windows, which is unfortunate. So the only way that this is possible is I've got it going through Pro Tools, then into a board, then out of a board, then into another sound card, then into clean feed, which is like an absolute, like, it's past a nightmare. But it's the only way that I can use this mic in the context of a live stream. But I'd say, if you need a mic that will also subsequently function as a separate interface, the MV7 is probably a good bet.
All right, Ken.
That's about the only use case that I would recommend.
Ken says beer slut. That should be you're already drinking it. Hey, man.
I am. Yes, I'm drinking water right now.
Branding is done. There you go.
Beer Slut Studios. Although I feel like I'm going to get a bunch of petition blowback, when I hit the 7-year mark on that.
Not even 7-year mark, man.
Stay away from that.
Yeah.
No, 2-month mark.
All right, guys. Thank you. Thank you to Camille. Once again, I appreciate the super chat. And once again, I will say super chats are not necessary. I won't say no.
Especially because I don't get them.
Yeah. I'll split the £5 with you, man.
No, I don't.
Yeah, $2.50.
I have a job.
£2.50 pence.
What is that in Canadian dollars? I know it's more.
It's $10.
Like $4?
$10.
$5 is $10? Or $5 is £5
£5 is $10. Yeah, the exchange rate.
Remind me never to buy anything from the UK.
Oh no. Well, yeah, the UK Amazon store sucks. I can tell you that the prices are jacked.
Well, there's some. I remember at one point, me being the hipster that I am, I was looking at buying. There's a company in the UK that makes like at-home vinyl lathes for cutting records, for cutting actual, like, your own vinyl you can get. And I was looking at the pricing, and I was like, oh, that's not bad. It was like £4,000.
Holy crap!
8,000 pounds. I'm like, oh, okay, or $8,000. I'm like, I'm good. I'm good. My interest isn't that high.
Yeah, no kidding. Camille, thank you again. That's amazing. Another £5. Before Camille goes broke, we're gonna end the stream.
Yeah, good plan.
Don't worry. I will use those £5 for beer. Cheers, guys. Thank you very much for joining us. We'll be back next Friday, and new video coming out Monday. So we'll see you then.
Woo! Stay tuned.